Deadliest computer virus by Disrupt. The world's deadliest computer virus. Alright.
A 6.5 magnitude earthquake is shaking the foundations of the Bangai Islands. 93 million miles away, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter...
Oh, is it a
Saturn,
space virus?
...and the Sun, all conjoined.
Aliens hacked our hentai folders?
Back at the equator, it's early morning. A student presents an idea for his senior thesis. He says the internet has become too costly for the average person.
Damn, this is really well made. Holy shit.
He can create a program that would retrieve the account logins of other individuals, hijack their internet.
Thanks for resub, Tim Tom.
Obviously, he wouldn't release the bug. He just wants to show he can do it before graduation. The dean's response?
We do not... What does that say?
Student writes...
We do not produce burglocks. What is that, like a Magic the Gathering card? What the fuck is a burglock? We do not burger? No, it's not a burger. What the fuck is this? Burglars! Oh, this is a K. Oh, I thought this was a K. Burglars. He just... he forgot this part, so it looks like a K. Okay.
The last line of code. He originally developed it to be geolocked to Manila, a safety net. But last minute, out of sheer curiosity,
Thanks to resub, Yanray.
he removes the geographic restriction. Shrouded in the universal message of peace, the file looks to be from a secret admirer.
Oh, this is like the... Ooh, this is a classic.
Once opened, the full file extension reveals itself.
Hey, thank you,
This is
Tip.
a visual
Thanks for resub,
basic
Come Dragon.
It uses an exploit in early computer systems that allowed it to run system code simply by being opened. The top two files are sent to the Windows system folder, where they wait. The bottom one is sent to the Windows directory.
Production on this is off the
where it
fucking
creates its
charts.
own key in the local machine registry. This causes other programs to run as soon as the system boots, before the user even has a chance to log in. From there, it opens Internet Explorer and randomly picks from a series of 4 web pages. Once landed, it downloads winbugsfix.exe. Then, it adds another registry key at the starting line.
Okay.
It gathers the system
What does it
log,
all mean?
password, IP address,
Oh.
and remote access information, packages it up neatly, and sends it to mailme at super.net.ph. After the details are set,
I love that he has like his own little
searches
fucking
for
video
files
game world here to
containing
enter.
like .js or
It's like Code Miko shit.
.css. It overwrites them
Thank you.
with the file extension. It does the same for JPEGs and MP3s, rendering them completely unretrievable.
World's deadliest computer virus.
Once the damage is done, the worm enters Outlook, scans for emails, then sends itself using the originator's email
Thank you,
address.
Tier 1 Seagull and resub Rimbuck.
Destruction is now spreading through a message of peace and love.
You are watching Disrupt.
This is movie quality shit here.
From Philippines to Hong Kong, the virus has infected several large corporations and banks, not only deleting important files within the companies,
Can look
but
greater.
grabbing the email listings of all individuals in contact. From there, it jumps to Europe, where it wreaks particular damage to the email servers within the House of Commons. They're forced to shut down, same with the Denmark Parliament. With classified documents in danger of being wiped out.
Who the fuck
US
opened
Air
I
Force
love
has
you
deployed
emails
system
at the Parliament
called
building?
Worst
Nobody's
by
getting an I
utilizing
love you
the
message there.
sensors that the Air Force had previously placed across bases throughout the country. It then creates a sort of window for centralized command to
What
view
is this?
Exit Tier 1 Nathan.
emails.
Computer virus.
The email matches
Yeah,
the
but
description. Command sends a
not understanding
TCP
the video.
reset to that desktop.
It's giving...
Just explaining
Receiving
the
emails
virus?
for
Yeah. And what... It's a like a history lesson.
Oh,
The private
that's
sector
boring.
is not so lucky. Most companies
I
are
highly
using
disagree.
Outlook, including AT&T and Ford. They are forced to take their email servers offline.
Brings you tier 1 your friend
The
Tio
virus
and
has
the
now
Prime
affected
Nardo.
nearly 55 million computers. Along with the emails, a second spreader has been identified. Within the original files, one is named mirc.ini.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be a dude's name.
IRC client.
It was just a picture of my dad.
It automatically
He was spreading
saves
it back in
the
2000.
contacts that the victim may share on a server. Instead of a love letter, though, it sends this message. Thinking it's a legit file, tech-savvy users of IRC would recognize the name, the author of MIRC. It's only after running the script
Thanks to gift sub your friend and the resub
had nothing
Kartik.
to do with it. Security analysts are scanning the virus, looking for clues as to the origin. They find that a component within closely resembles a password cracker named that was discovered 4 months earlier. They find within it signed names and resumes, an entry that says, in the resume portion is an extended list of
Like the
first
Joker
and
with a
last
calling
names,
card.
along with a group title.
Good man.
This traces back to an after-school club at a computer college in the Philippines. An apartment is raided. Inside is a man, a woman, and an empty desk with a dusty outline of a Gateway Performance 1500.
You know.
The man, now identified as Romo Ramones, is the boyfriend of Irene de Guzman,
Oh, is this something that actually
who is the
happened?
older sister of a student
Yeah.
in the college.
No, I thought it was just explaining what
Student's
could have
name
happened
just
if
so happens
this
to
happened.
be on the list.
What?
I didn't know that they actually had a virus go through. When was this?
2000.
Oh, well, that's why.
Thanks to tier 1 Pinkerton and the Prime Kawarda. Resub Jake.
You're going to find that it's a lot lighter than usual as you drive eastbound from the...
That was Love Shack by the B-52s. You're listening to 102.7 KISS FM. Folks, it's a sunny 75.5 degrees in Los Angeles.
fucking 3. Why would I know about this?
It's Win a Porsche
Well-
Friday. You know the rules.
Yeah,
Down
I mean,
the line,
I don't remember it super well either, but
brand new $50,000
I don't know why it'd be a fake history lesson.
I didn't realize that it was a history lesson. I mean, he's just explaining what happens if a virus goes through and all this stuff happens. I didn't know it was something that really happened that way. That it was just going through like this could happen if this.
I get
Very
ya.
recognizable as our current day web. This is before .coms and .orgs.
Hey, he said like a history lesson. Doesn't make me think it actually happened and it's an actual
Has just
history
come across
lesson.
a telephone number for ARPANET was the first wide area network that allowed different connections to send information to each other. Also known
I wonder if they're gonna bring up my old website here for evidence.
he tries
I remember
to
I had a
connect
Pixo.
through his home modem. Sure enough,
Maybe that's the key.
he's gained access to the University of California, Berkeley. Diving further, he discovers there's potential government documents hidden behind a password. He tries guessing. He tries
UCB.
over the next
Good
few weeks,
guess.
Dante continues logging in. For him, it's less about obtaining sensitive information or leaking it, more about gaining power, snooping around, seeing how far he can cross the line. On one of his deep dives, he makes a fatal error. He forgets to mask his login name.
Why even make the
Error lights
login
up a
name
silent flag
your name?
Miles away.
Make
from
it
the
like
security office.
Dick Hard Thundercock or
Unbeknownst to
something.
Kevin,
Who cares?
He continues. The kid answers the door. He's greeted by the Los Angeles DA. They seize his computer, but since he's underage, he isn't charged.
Now he works for NSA.
In the back
Thank you
reaches
tier 1
of a
Sentient
Menlo
Salt
Park
and the
storage
resub
facility,
Moshe and the 2
two
gift subs
workers are
Linen.
clearing out unpaid storage units.
Already
It's a
seen that
routine
Seagull.
job.
It's like a
Break
300
open
million
lock,
view video.
Clear out the belongings, auction off what they can. But in this particular unit, they find something. The Stanford Research Institute One of the centers impacted by the previous escapades
Is it
reaches
Prime Rye?
out to Kevin, proposing that he works for them, securing their network. The 18-year-old is hired.
Hey, congrats, Kevin. Fuck
He's
yeah.
drawn to a few blocks from the main entrance
Big
of
pickup.
SRI. He spends his days working on encryption algorithms for secure military communications. He's successfully gone from an underground black hat hacker to a white hat hacker with a paycheck. Detective James Neal of the Menlo Park PD thinks he's looking at a standard case of stolen property. The storage bill is assigned to
Thanks to the anonymous gift sub.
John Anderson. A quick search finds this name to be a fake. Upon further inspection of the unit, the detective finds blank IDs and a document containing an unpublished number of the Soviet embassy.
Oh boy,
Another document
we've been infiltrated.
containing the name.
Thanks to the 5 gift subs, Shuby, and the Prime Urinal Goblin, and Dad Kisser. Cool name.
The National Bureau of Investigation issues a mandatory court appearance for 2 students. Onel de Guzman, who originally proposed the thesis, and Michael Buen, who is suspected to have helped write the structure of the worm.
This is his trial date still pending 21 years
Nowhere to
later.
be found.
One day we'll ask him about it.
The worm continues its spread, though the effects are beginning to weaken. A press conference is called. The guest of honor, Onel de Guzman. When asked if he's the one who unleashed the virus, Onel states, and when questioned if he feels anything
Oh, come
about
on,
the damage
go
caused,
hard with the
he looks
supervillain
down,
shit.
mumbles nothing, then covers his ears. Being the first large-scale computer crime out of the Philippines,
Thanks to the resub,
the
Jeff.
authorities have trouble charging Onel.
And Drop
with
Bears.
anything. Over the subsequent months,
Been alright, man. Hope you had a good
Philippine
day.
Congress passed legislation dealing with computer-related crimes. But seeing as this was made official after Onel's stunt, he can't be charged. Ultimately, the case against him boils down to credit card fraud. Onel never admits
Thanks to
to
5 gift
creating
subs,
the
Sticky
virus,
Keys, and resub
only that
Plant.
he may have inadvertently released the program. All charges against him are dropped. In total, the estimated damages are said to exceed
7.8 billion US fiat.
in wipe files
Wow, not bad.
for cleanup.
Fuck yeah, Onel de Guzman.
He
Congrats.
finally admits to creating the virus and releasing it. He said he did it alone.
But why? What did he want? The madman.
BBS files have been written. And nope, it's been overwritten. It will not boot.
Thanks to Prime Narfles and
The
resub
cybersecurity specialist
Lyricity.
is deep in an organization's
Yeah, we'll do
infrastructure.
Darkman in a bit.
He's well equipped to face any situation that may arise, but he started at the fundamentals.
Brilliant.org.
Is offering computer science courses at a fraction of the cost of traditional university rates.
Wait, this is absolutely an
Looking
ad.
to become a network engineer, cybersecurity
Yeah,
specialist.
oh, it was still so well produced, I thought it was part of the hack.
Computer science
Shit, they almost had me. God, it's like the fucking Chris Angel pre-commercial,
Intro,
yeah, pre-commercial shit. It's so
Holston is
fucking
brought in for
cool.
questioning. He denies everything.
Please resub Zeus.
A few hours later, they accompany him to
I
his
thought
condo.
that said I forgot the
Inside,
law, not
they
I
find a
fought the
room
law.
full of
I was like, what?
One of these is a lineman's headset. This device can be connected wherever there are exposed telephone wires accessible. When connected to a line, the handset is essentially indistinguishable from regular telephones, except it can intercept
man,
active
those
calls,
wires.
answer incoming calls, and make outgoing
Imagine
calls.
having to straighten all those
Back
wires
then,
out.
you needed
Yeah.
a license to
Them.
operate it, something Kevin is lacking. They confiscate some of the equipment and start their investigation.
Is that Kevin, that son of a bitch?
Documents and equipment. They
Going in there to
find
flip over a fax
series of
machine?
pictures. A young, slender male crouching down and picking the lock
Slender
of a
Man.
Pacific Bell trailer. Further pictures show
Whoa!
the same subject inside the telephone trailer, posing with it.
We got him. Thanks to the resub,
For the
Shabay.
past 4 years, Poulsen has been finding a particular thrill in dumpster diving.
Okay.
This will be your last chance to get the...
Who doesn't love a good
Using
dumpster, huh?
those to gain access to physical networks.
Have you ever dumpster
FBI
dived?
agents
Nope.
suddenly surround
I just
Kevin's
like
phone
garbage
with
trucks.
calling. Then,
Like a real
the
man.
leader's phone rings.
Catch me if you can.
The agents immediately trace the call, only to be led straight to a Pacific Bell number. Instead of jumping town and heading out of the country, Kevin decides to
Thanks for
stay
5
close
resubs,
to home.
Chance. And resub
He dyes his
Nocturne.
hair a different color.
Thank you,
Picks
Chance.
up a new identity. To get some quick cash, he utilizes his phone line skills in an all-too-easy scheme.
We're sorry. All of our representatives are still assisting other customers.
It's a sunny 75.5 degrees in Los Angeles, and today isn't just any
Dark Souls win. Soon. We'll hit more Dark Souls soon.
It's Win a Porsche Friday. You know the rules.
Thanks to Tier 1 Monolithic.
I'm going to bed.
2,
Sleep well.
1, let's roll.
Kevin flips a switch,
6.
blocks every other caller from reaching the line. Now, any line that is picked up would redirect to
You
him,
don't have to be up for anything.
including the 102nd.
Not early.
Congratulations, you've won a brand new Porsche. Who's the lucky winner?
Wow, I can't believe it. This
Thanks to Tier 1 Gantz.
Michael B. Peters.
One can only speculate about what motivated Kevin Poulsen.
Oh, God. It's non-pedophile hunter Chris Hansen.
Young man, possibly a genius. But now he is a wanted man, facing up to 37 years in prison.
A TV show has just aired an episode about Kevin's hacks. The show opens their phone lines to callers that may have tips about the subjects. On the premiere of this particular episode, the phone lines are jammed.
Classic Kevin.
During his time laying
He released an EMP
LA Vice
device.
Squad, a division focused on public order crimes like narcotics and gambling, pick up Kevin on an undisclosed minor crime. Eventually, though, they release him, failing to check the federal warrant database.
That was lucky.
The feds have received a tip that Kevin is still living in LA.
Thanks to gift sub again, Sticky.
Question some of his acquaintances. One says that he frequents.
Use and market.
They go to the store, give the employees his picture, and wait.
Just go to a different market. You can't be forming habits as a criminal.
Is working the night shift.
Gotta keep them on their toes.
He spots a familiar face. Kevin has dyed his hair a light blonde, but it isn't enough.
Hey, Wheeler, thanks for the 5 gift
Store
subs,
clerk
man.
dials the authorities, ensuring Kevin doesn't spot him. By the time they arrive, Kevin is gone. For the next 24 hours, the agent on duty, Terry, stakes out the parking lot.
Thanks to the
Kevin
Prime,
pulls
see
up.
that?
Terry takes a position at the front door. 2 clerks sneak up behind Kevin and tackle him to the ground. Hearing the
But it
commotion,
wasn't
Terry
Kevin.
runs in.
It was a 9-year-old schoolboy Kevin
They bring him
paid.
into the back room
to impersonate him.
Transportation can arrive. As if on cue, Kevin begins complaining that his eyes are watering. He requests that he take his contact lenses out and get the glasses from a bag in his car. Terry agrees and retrieves the bag, but he checks it before handing it over. Sure enough, in the glasses case is a universal handcuff key.
Oh, wait, what? I still think it's super dumb that all handcuffs use the same key. I think that's so fucking dumb. What an oversight.
She recognizes the phrase and calls one of Kevin's hacker friends, who subsequently retrieves an incriminating computer from an undisclosed location. However, the police are a step ahead. Months earlier, they recruited a local hacker to infiltrate the local LA hacker circle. He rings the bell and the incriminating computer is intercepted. It takes nearly 9 months for them to decrypt it. Nearly 2 years after his arrest, Poulsen is accused of 19 counts that include conspiracy,
Rough.
connection with access devices,
They got him.
interception of wire or electronic communications, and money laundering. He faces 100 years in prison and nearly $5 million in fines.
Give him a job.
This is considered one of the first large-scale cases against the newly defined crime of hacking. If successfully charged, they hope to send a clear message to the mid-90s hacking community. Eventually, Poulsen pleads guilty to several counts of computer fraud.
Why are people arrested for money laundering?
And money laundering. He's ordered to
pay
$58K in fines and given a 51-month sentence. Kevin is released on parole. By court order, he's barred from using computers. For the first time, in the 2000s, he flips the switch. He gains access.
No, Kevin, fuck! Wait, 2012?
Okay, this is the question. Did I ever consider leaving California altogether, going across the country? I did consider that, but...
I don't think I'm going to watch CSGO Rage. It doesn't sound very fun.
I wanted to solve the problem, not run away from it.
Oh, I thought he turned into Tony Hawk for a second. He gave up hacking and now he just skateboards.
Hey, so I was just thinking about how everyone in the world has their own conscience, their own lives, everything. Everyone alive is living. So then I thought about how much computer processing power it would
Pretty impressive!
Everybody's
not
conscience.
Bad.
I'm not saying that our universe is simulated. I don't actually believe in that theory.
Oh, okay.
All I'm saying is that...
Is this Kevin?
Just stop for a moment and think about how much processor power would be required to simulate everybody's conscience. Another thing.
Okay, we don't need to get too deep into the weeds of simulated universe, I suppose. Night, Christopher.
A weekly internet show, The Atheist Experience has run for over a decade, and generally sees the host debate with various callers over different religious matters. However, during a seemingly regular, if not slightly intense call in 2014, there was a sudden bizarre and downright chilling moment live on air.
That's just a silly argument. I mean, I understand.
I agree with you. I'm just trying to get at why it's a silly argument.
Well, I understand that that statement was originally said by Carl Sagan, but who really cares about, them requiring extraordinary claims and evidence?
So then you should believe I rose from the dead. Okay. I terrified her with my awesome logic.
Apparently.
That's the creepy, mysterious moment?
As heard, while the hosts argue with the caller, she abruptly lets out a blood-curdling scream, and before we can hear any more, they disconnect the call.
What?
Disturbingly, the screams sound uncomfortably real, as though the woman was actually attacked.
What?
In fact, many viewers were so convinced the call was genuine that they asked the show to track down the woman's address. Others though aren't so convinced, and contend the scream was merely a sound effect.
Belarus.
Still, is it possible the woman was literally murdered on air?
Okay.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
A reality series is one of the last places you'd expect to find credible proof of life after death. However, one Big Brother contestant allegedly heard the voice of her dead sister.
Ué, eu ouvi meu nome.
What?
Cida? Cida? Aonde?
This is a mysterious video?
Aonde?
I think he was just happy to be watching some Brazilian Big Brother here.
Still, the mystery seems over when a fellow contestant claims responsibility.
I'm just gonna skip through this. I think it's just this guy being horny.
In the previous look at mysterious videos, I covered a plane supposedly frozen in the air. To some, this was evidence of the simulation theory.
Thanks to some Chris Crab and
it was just the wind.
Ghetto Works.
However,
and
either
the
way,
Astro.
these so-called glitches in the Matrix not only affect aircraft, but also apparently birds. Now, admittedly, most of these videos are easily explained as normal hunting behaviour. Yet what if the bird was dead, and still somehow floating?
What is it? What is it? Can you see it?
This is an old patch. Yeah. Just a bit of lag. Desync.
What the hell is that?
According to one onlooker, Nino Tobrak-Kojan,
He's the
he
prime
watched
demon.
it for at least 2 minutes, but saw no movement whatsoever.
2 minutes?
Unsurprisingly,
He drove right by it.
Has itself led to stranger theories. The common consensus is that it's proof of the aforementioned artificial reality, but alternative bizarre ideas claim it's a government drone, or even a broken alien device. Leave your own theories in the comments.
What the hell is that?
Yes, a broken alien device is pretty reasonable given all the evidence. Thanks to the resub Arisen and Detergent.
If you've spent any time in conspiracy circles, you've likely heard of the chemtrail theory. The idea is that many contrails are actually filled with undisclosed chemical substances.
They're making our dicks
These
smaller.
chemtrails then slowly poison the atmosphere with the overall purpose of human population control. However,
It's clearly
an
not
additional
working.
And downright bizarre theory posits that said chemicals are released via cloaked government planes. Now, obviously, this sounds ridiculous, but believers have offered up some weird videos. Incredibly, on July 17th, 2019, Skywatcher Eye of the Beholder filmed this unexplained anomaly in Bucharest,
Sweet, thanks,
Romania.
Eris. Yeah, I know, I love these things, Mafia. Thanks to the resub, Maddie. And yeah, True Cult.
Still, you might say this was just an optical illusion, yet 2 days before this video was released, amateur researcher Linda Miller captured another one of these planes.
Thanks to the resub, Varus. Looks pretty good. I can't,
So could
yeah.
the impossible be true?
There we go.
And the government actually use invisible planes?
Thanks to the resub, Clorox and the Prime Stick.
Hidden in the remote Monitor Valley of Nevada lies the boiling hot spring Diane's Punch Bowl. Such extraordinary heat has led to the alternative name Devil's Cauldron. But
I've
could
heard of
there be
that.
an additional and darker reason for this?
Oh.
One person who may have stumbled upon the answer is the channel Texrax. For years, they've tested the durability of multiple pieces of technology via different extreme situations. As such, the boiling cauldron was a perfect place to test the survival capabilities of the iPhone 11.
Okay guys, so check it out.
Thanks to resub, Otis.
We're gonna slowly but surely dip it straight in the water.
Still, the
Alright, I'll check it
experiment
out.
seems like a flop with Texrax's first test.
Thanks to Prime Veronis.
However, the second time Texrax drops the phone, he captures something truly chilling.
Wow, what the fuck? It's demons!
Texrax himself is at a loss to explain the screams, but this hasn't stopped his viewers from claiming the cauldron is actually a portal to hell. Now, obviously this theory is speculative at best, but there's no doubt the sounds are unusual. So what's really the answer? Be sure to let me know.
It goes to hell. What do you mean? We got the answer. What the fuck are you talking about? You heard the screams? Demons are always screaming
In the
in
world
hell.
of UFO research, some self-proclaimed hunters often analyze.
It's not the
NASA
drone,
feeds
it was
for proof.
fucking demons, bro.
Unfortunately, for the most part, they're left with blurry pictures of normal space phenomena.
Thanks
However,
for some
every
Geo.
now and then, the cameras pick up something that shouldn't be there.
In the prime.
The most recent example of this was on February 19th, 2020, when ufologists spotted this bizarre object.
I'm sorry to hear that, Bear. We'll do the Ghost of Camel in just a moment. I'm busy being enlightened. Thanks for your sub, Crimpy.
Incredibly, based on its size compared to that of the nearby planets, the UFO appears to be massive on an unprecedented scale. Still, despite such inspired speculation, NASA claims the artifact anomaly is actually an internal reflection of Venus. Intriguingly though, researchers have noted the UFO's similarity to Ezekiel's wheel, long suspected to be proof of the ancient alien theory.
Yep, that's what I was thinking
Unaware,
too.
The Bible claims the prophet was visited by a flying chariot, yet others believe it was a spaceship. No doubt this sounds like blatant pseudoscience, except the idea was surprisingly correlated by NASA chief Joseph Blumrich. So is the solar anomaly proof that Ezekiel's wheel has returned? Or was it really just a reflection of Venus?
No, it's Ezekiel's wheel. Like, you can't argue with that. Look at that shit. It's like a fucking Beyblade over there.
If this year didn't feel apocalyptic enough, some believe a dragon has now been filmed in China. In a scene sensationally described as Hell on Earth, a sudden explosion recently hit the Tiexi district of Shenyang. Officially, it was the result of a lightning strike. However, many are convinced it was some type of plasma weapon, and even weirder still, that it had a connection to this flying creature.
Wow. It's always so convenient that someone's like looking in the correct direction to catch something like that in a totally innocent, nothing going on kind of day. I always just find that really lucky, just how lucky we are to get those kind of angles, because he's clearly holding his phone.
Seriously,
He just decided to start recording while driving over by those buildings doing nothing.
Like a dragon silhouette behind the apartments. Covered by multiple cameras, skeptics have claimed it's merely a piece of plastic debris, yet it seems to flap its wings.
That was sweet there. No, I think it's
is
just.
it possible
I don't
this
think so.
anomaly
Boom.
really is some unexplained creature? And if so, why was its appearance perfectly timed with the explosion? Is this proof they're related, or was it just a bunch of debris and a few coincidences? What's your opinion?
I think it's a dragon. I mean, what the fuck else could it be?
A video that bears unnerving similarity to that of the frozen bird clip. This was taken back in September 2019. Posted to Facebook by Morgan Lyons, she supposedly stumbled upon this crowd of seemingly frozen people. This is definitely weird enough, but even stranger, there'd been nobody there 10 minutes earlier.
What the fuck is happening?
Holy shit. The NPCs, their code is fucked up.
Gotta go. Get me out.
Now, this is certainly mysterious, but could there be a simple explanation? According to some comments, the group is a class from Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditation retreat, in which participants stand completely still in order to become fully immersed in the experience. However, others remain skeptical of this and question why they would freeze in such uncomfortable positions, as well as why some members are stood nowhere near each other. Additionally, viewers state that they couldn't all stand still without at least some instance of movement. So if the people aren't from the meditation retreat, could it perhaps be an elaborate prank? Or, as a few far-out theories postulate, further evidence of the simulation hypothesis?
I think simulation.
Gotta go. Get me out.
You didn't see one moving. That was an illusion to hide the malfunctioning simulated
Earlier this
universe.
year, the city of Bryan, Texas was rocked by a horde of banshee-like screams, and although officials blamed the pressure release valve, many residents
Hey, I have seen that phase, and thank you.
Explanation. One of these
Makes
is
me
Daniel
so
Robb,
cool.
who was one of the first to record the screams. According to Robb, they apparently started around 8:30 in the midst of an unusually powerful thunderstorm, and continued for an hour.
There's a sound screaming, it's like a scream. It's so freaking loud, and it's coming from up in the air, like up there. It's been going on now.
Jesus.
What is that? I swear I saw like this thing when the lightning was flashing a second ago. What the fuck?
This one was a real thing? What did it turn out to be?
In fairly regular intervals, with an odd mixture of vibration sounds and shrieks. Most inexplicably, they seem to be extremely loud, and yet somehow far in the distance.
That is so loud and so like eerie. It's like a banshee, blood curdling.
So what did it turn out to be then, if it's real?
There it is again.
It's Zapdos? That's kind of what I was thinking.
What is that?
Fortunately, however, resident Rusty Appolida was able to get a much more close-up recording. Unfortunately, his video only makes the screams that much more creepy.
Uh-oh. Oh, is that... I think it's a fox that makes a fucking super loud scream, right?
With an animalistic cry.
Is that a fox or
While
something?
around
What am
the
I thinking
same
of?
time, there are a series of mysterious blue flashes. Eerily, these screams sound like they're coming from something alive, and not
Mountain
an object,
lion?
as others speculated.
Thanks to resub Maddie.
So what was responsible?
True boom, it could be.
For now we don't know, but the answer probably lies in Rob's other two videos. Interestingly, the earlier clip shows the Air Force responding to an unidentified object, in the exact same location where he later captured the screams.
Yes, it was probably an alien spacecraft screaming.
Meanwhile, in the latter piece of footage, it looks as if Rob potentially captured said object.
It's coming from up there. See that thing in the sky? Flashes?
Thanks to resub Sunbro, Neptune in the Prime Atrium.
What was this UFO? A weather modification device as has been suggested? Or is there a more darker outlook?
That's not a cloud. It's a witch. So what does a mountain lion scream sound like? Well, that almost immediately replicated that. That took the quickest YouTube search of all time. That's pretty fucking close. What does a fox scream sound like? I know these screams are fucking crazy. Nice. This one? Yep. I think it was probably a mountain lion. This is probably filmed on the same night that that guy was losing his fucking mind thinking it was a banshee. Hey, thanks for the 5 tier 2 gift subs, damn right. Appreciate it. Next to be some Hawk Kid. Alright, let's run it. There's the Prime Kruggy.
They say that nothing on the internet is ever truly gone. One of the most compelling aspects
That's wrong.
of this very
All of my
resource
old
that we
anime
use every
music
day
videos are gone.
is the fact that, for the
Can't get
most
them back.
part, any and everything that's ever been posted online can be archived.
Nope, not my
forever, like a never-ending diary.
I've been trying for years to find my old
This allows
videos.
the possibility for an incomprehensible amount of information gathered from the past and present available to us at any
Thanks to be
given
some
time.
Sorry and Paradox.
Over on Reddit, a lot of strange, disturbing, and even depressing things have played out over the
Hey,
years.
thank you, Canada
leaving
Matt.
us
Appreciate
with
the 5
tons
gift
of
subs.
stories and events to dig through. Within this vast sea of archives, though, is one that really hit home for me back when it happened, as it, in real time, merged the realms of the internet and reality, ultimately leaving people absolutely baffled at the resolution.
I'll be the judge of that.
Because tonight, we're going to head back in time to 2016 to explore the incredibly bizarre and heartbreaking story of a Redditor by the name of Jason in Hell.
Jason in Hell. That's pretty extreme.
On the late evening of October 28th of 2016, a Redditor named Jason in Hell would make a sudden post to the relationship advice subreddit, seeking counsel regarding a cheating situation that played out between his wife and neighbor. His post is titled, "I'm having a hard time coping with my wife having cheated on me with our neighbor."
Damn, she cheated with a 51-year-old dude?
Immense detail.
He must be
his
slinging
experience
meat.
catching his wife cheating on him over a year prior. At the time, though, little did everyone know that this would be the spearhead of the absolute turmoil that he and his family would soon begin to endure.
Hey, thanks. God damn, Carstark. Thank you. Appreciate the bits.
So, quick side note before we move on. I did a story narration back in my Redditor
Maybe I
Escapes
can't
the
watch
Cold
that
video,
shadow.
and you guys seem to like it. For this one, we're going to lay things out largely the same way. We'll go through
Prime Party.
Jason's full story before diving into the aftermath of how things turned out. The original post is about an 8-minute read, so if you'd like to grab a snack or drink before we get into it,
Oh, Jesus,
now would
okay.
be the time.
I was hoping for just the cliff notes, but that's okay. Fuck it, we're already here. I'll let it ride.
I'm having a hard time coping with my wife, having cheated on me with her neighbor. It has been 476 days since I confronted her about it. How do I know? Because every time I catch myself thinking about it, I tell myself, it's only been X days. Maybe you won't think about it tomorrow.
That sounds highly unlikely.
So
He's
to go
not an
back to the
anime
beginning,
character.
I had
No
just
one does
taken on
that.
a new project and new responsibilities at work. I was working a lot of hours, 60 plus per week, and was noticeably stressed. It was in May of 2015 that I noticed that she had a password on her phone. When confronted about it, she told me it was just because she was planning my Father's Day present and didn't want me to ruin the surprise. About a week later, she came
Good
to me and
plan.
told me that she felt guilty keeping a big secret from me and told me that she was having our neighbor, a contractor, build a home office for me as my present. It struck me as odd, as in our 6 years together she's never said she felt guilty about anything and always insists that she never regrets anything in her life. Time goes on, her phone is still
Thanks for
password
sub Eevee
protected,
and the Prime
and
Squish.
things don't feel right. I see her using her phone and smiling to herself more and more often, but when I ask her what she's doing, she says nothing and puts her phone away. So one morning, I wait for her to get in the shower, and I grab her phone before it requires the password. I go through her messages and find that she's texting the neighbor. "I'm all covered in frosting.
What?
You want to lick it off?"
What is this, porn? Like, what are you talking? There's no fucking way this is real. What? Why is everyone saying this is real? Who? So was she actually covered in frosting? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? raided a kid's birthday party and fell and flopped around in the cake? I highly doubt this is real. The guy starts by saying, it's been 476 days since I found this. I know because I've counted every day. Telling myself I'll forget about it tomorrow or whatever. That does not sound real at all. I'll let it ride, but this is very fishy at best.
There were no other messages to the neighbor, but I found out later that was because she had set up her phone to delete messages after a certain amount of time. I felt uncomfortable with it, but I knew she had a perverted sense of humor, and I thought she would never do anything to hurt me. More time goes by, and the neighbor is spending more and more time at our house, but the office is being completed slower and slower. I can't help but worry that something isn't right, so I start checking her location using Google Timeline. It was at this point that I realized that there are large gaps in her GPS history because she was turning off her phone's GPS.
Jesus.
Fast forward to July.
So this guy's basically a stalker.
The paranoia is driving me nuts, so I tell her that I need to install a new antivirus on her phone. While she has it unlocked for me, I install an anti-theft software so I can remotely turn the GPS back on and set up AT&T message backup and restore so I can read all of her text messages.
Does a program like that even exist? That sounds like a convenient tool in like a bad CW movie.
My 2 kids, so my wife
for people that don't
understand
understand technology.
The day to herself. I watch my wife's activity from work as she spends the day trying to meet up with a neighbor.
That exists?
But is unsuccessful because he's busy with another job site. That night, we get the kids back from my mom's house and we go to dinner with a neighbor, his girlfriend, and his son. My wife and his girlfriend are having a good time, drinking, laughing, and just joking around. His girlfriend mentions that she'd like to see Magic Mike. I say it's a good idea, and I'll watch the kids so my wife and her can go. So my wife and her go, and the neighbor and I go back to my house so the kids can play video games together.
Oh shit, he beats his ass.
The kids are back in my son's room playing games, and the neighbor's sitting across from me on the other couch. It's at this point that my wife starts texting him. She's describing sex acts that she would like to perform with him, and he's reciprocating. She tells him to check his Snapchat, and at the same time, I get a Snapchat from her too, and it's her fingering herself in a bathroom stall. They keep
is he married to fucking Susie Squirts a lot? Like who does that?
So in my head,
what?
I already plan to pretend to leave and circle back to catch them, but then they tell each other they love each other, and it's all I can do not to leap off the couch and knock him out. But I contain myself and continue reading the conversation unfolding in front of me. Then he tells her, "You're my girl now," to which she replies, "Always have been," ending with him writing, "And always will be."
This is fanfic. This is literally fucking fanfic. Holy shit.
My wife and the neighbor's girlfriend return from the movie, and I ask them politely to sit down. I then ask the kids to stay in my son's room and shut the door. I return to the living room and confront my wife and the neighbor. I say, "So you two love each other,
I really
huh?"
appreciate the huge
And
bits.
my wife
I'm
goes
glad you
into
had fun
full-blown
tonight.
denial mode, and
Thank
the
you,
neighbor's
Red.
girlfriend starts smacking him. I ask my wife if she's been texting him. She says no, so I show her the text messages. She admits to it but says it was the first time that it went that far. I ask my wife if she sent him pictures. She says no, so I show her the picture, and she admits it but says it was the first time. I ask her if she's having sex with him, and she says no. Because I didn't want to catch them
Is
having
there
sex
sub-
together,
limp
I
listen
didn't have
and
evidence
Ray?
to prove her
Give sub Ray.
wrong, so that one stayed unresolved. I tell her that I'm leaving her, and she tells me that she'll make sure that I never see my kids again if I do. She planned on using the fact that I had attempted suicide in high school to prove me unfit to have children. She continues to say that it was my fault for being so busy with work and stressed out that she just wanted someone she could talk to. Then she gives me an ultimatum to decide what I'm going to do, or she'll decide for me. The neighbor's girlfriend starts defending the two of them, saying that it couldn't have been that serious if they weren't having sex, and that my wife and I are too perfect together to let this break us up. The neighbors go home, and my wife and I
Okay, yeah, that sounds like something normal that happens.
We go to bed separately, having not resolved anything. We keep going back and forth on the subject all weekend, and finally settle on we were going to separate temporarily while we figure out what we want. I was going to stay in the house, and she was going to take the kids and go to her mom's house. That Monday I go to work, and I get a text from her in the middle of a meeting with my bosses, stating that she had explained things to our kids, but they were upset, and I needed to explain things to them also. I get home from work to find my kids crying. She had told them that mommy had to move out because dad was mad at her. When my son wanted to stay with me, she told him that he can't.
Oh, it's getting real dark.
My son put it together that if mommy has to move out because I'm mad at her, and he must move out, then I must have been mad at him too. My daughter was crying because my son was, but I don't think that she was old enough to understand what was happening. It was at this moment I realized that she was going to drag the kids through hell if I left her, so I swallowed my feelings and begged her to stay. She agreed and insisted that I apologize to our neighbor since we were still going to need to hang out with him because our sons are good friends.
Thanks, Reese of Water.
I hate it, but I do it anyway. We still hang out with them from time to time, and they come to our various birthday and holiday parties, but I'd do anything for my kids, and I behave civil every time. Things died down for a while. I still think about it constantly. I worry how I can keep from making her so unhappy that she cheats on me again. Then, almost a year after the original incident, around Father's Day again, she sends him pictures again. She claims that it was an accident and that she meant to send them to me instead. I don't fully believe her, but I move on anyway.
Thanks, Resub Prater.
Things have been quiet on that front for about 4 months now, but I still think about it constantly.
In this video,
going to sound
Dion?
stupid, but I feel like I have a part of my brain that I can't shut off. That's always thinking. I used to use that to solve programming problems, and it made me very good at my job, but ever since this incident, the only thing it thinks about is her and him, and if I did the right thing. My job performance has suffered, and I feel like I haven't gotten sleep in months. I'm afraid that after this much time, and the fact that I begged her back, that to say that I want a divorce now would only make her more vindictive towards my kids and I just feel like I put myself so deep in a hole that I could never get back out. I haven't really talked to anyone about this. I didn't want to talk to my mom about it because I felt like she would treat my wife differently and I didn't need the two fighting.
Alright, now I'm all caught up on the lore.
I tried talking to one friend about it, but his advice was to put my trust in God, but that was not much solace for me as I'm an atheist.
That sounds like a Redditor for sure.
Or how to move on from this.
And then I also spit in my friend's face and said wubba lubba dub dub.
In response to Jason, users chimed in with a mixed bag of emotions. To get the full picture on all the flack that he was getting for this, here are a few examples. I cannot believe you stayed with her. I cannot believe you begged
I don't really
her to stay.
care about the Redditor response, I just want to know where this story goes, to be honest.
Smack the shit out of that old man. Go to an attorney and talk about ways to get custody of your kids. Your wife's a twat. Staying in a marriage for the sake of the kids never works out. She obviously was sleeping with him and then got you to apologize to him. She denied it all. She will put you through the ringer when you divorce her, but you should do it. Chances are, now she has a second phone and an email address to talk to him.
A detective,
Your wife
good,
is vicious
finally.
and toxic, and you have to decide if you divorce her now or when your kids have moved out. The sooner the better. So this all would be a lot for anyone to handle. Taking some of the serious, grounded advice that a few people had thrown in there was pivotal for him to begin moving on from this. And so we did. 4 nights later, on November 1st, Jason would return to the relationship advice subreddit and make a follow-up post.
Okay, where we at, Jason?
I'm taking your advice. He explains his next move. Instead of trying to fix something that she doesn't want to fix, I'm going to get myself and my kids out. I meet with an attorney next week. Thank you everyone for helping me see how far I had my head up my ass. In
Very
response
nice,
to
very
this
nice.
one, Reddit wished him luck in his endeavors, reinforcing the idea that he's making the right move. But then something strange would happen.
Uh-oh, aliens? What happened?
Going through the comments a bit
Galactic
deeper
fight?
reveals something a little odd. Like we said, yes, people were commending him on his decision, but about a week later, people began jumping back into the post, linking a news article that seemed to align with this situation with striking accuracy.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Smith. Thanks for joining us. 2 Montgomery County children are dead tonight. Their mother, 30-year-old Brandy Worley, says she is responsible for their deaths. News 18's Krista Henry joins us now live from the the Montgomery County
Thanks to the resub Logan ad, and the Tier 1 Rico, and resub Spike Caps.
Well,
and
Jeff,
the big raid
this
tech
morning when I asked Sheriff Mark
Thank you,
Castile
goddamn.
if
The door,
Worley
the
showed any
shall
kind of
open.
remorse, he answered with no,
I've
and then
been
went on to
waiting
say,
for
quote,
you,
she, in
friends.
fact, acted very matter-of-fact.
Hold on. Thank you for the huge raid, Tectone. And thanks to the resub Rogan Gamer. Yeah, I still don't really believe this story is real. This seems like classic Reddit when they thought they caught the Boston bomber type thing, connecting these dots. Clearly I'm not done yet, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, just to catch you up to speed. Dude's wife was slamming meat of a 51-year-old neighbor, and dude went to Reddit for advice, as any sane man would do, I guess. And now Redditors in the follow-up are saying that his wife killed the kids. So that's where we're at. Thanks to Prime Shift. Reasons why I think it's fake. This guy counted every day for 476 days that his wife was cheating. And apparently his wife fingers herself in movie theater stalls and sends it to him or sends it to the neighbor on Snapchat and him. So I don't know, it seems weird. Seems fishy.
According to ABC6 Indianapolis, on November 17th of that year, a Montgomery County mother was charged with 2 counts of murder after police say she admitted to killing her 2 young children. According to the probable cause affidavit, Brandy Worley told police that her husband was divorcing her, and "I did not want him taking them, so I stabbed them." The children's father, Jason Worley, was sleeping in the basement at the time of the crime.
Jesus, why the basement?
According to court documents, Jason had filed for divorce on Wednesday, citing an irretrievable breakdown in the marriage as the reason for the divorce. Now, this definitely carries tons of parallels to the original story. Here, we have a woman named Brandy Worley who, in cold blood, murdered her children, citing the fact that she didn't want Jason taking them as her motive. On the other hand, on Reddit, we have this story by this Jason and Hell guy, who has the same first name, might I add, about his unnamed wife being unfaithful and how he just filed for divorce. And lastly, in his original story, he relayed the fact that his wife claimed that he'll never see the kids again if the two split.
These recent Papa Blacks.
Back when this was unfolding, people were speculating that this might be the same guy. Tons of signs were pointing to this, but most were simply trying to maintain that tiny sliver of skepticism. That was until November 21st, when Jason would return to do one last follow-up, essentially confirming everyone's preconceptions. Thank you. I would like to give a heartfelt and sincere thank you for the advice and support I've received here. No one could have foreseen the tragedy that resulted from me filing for divorce. You guys perform a wonderful service to those in need, and I hope you continue to do so in the future. Below this, he attached a link to the same news article outlining the situation. And it was at this moment that everyone realized just how real this entire thing actually was.
Yeah.
Brandy was the one that stoically reported this to the authorities.
That sounds like a totally reasonable post for a father going through grief saying thank you and linking the death of his children so casually.
Montgomery County 911, where's your emergency?
203 South Madison Street.
In what town?
Darlington.
Hey, what's going on there?
I just stabbed myself and I killed my 2 children.
You stabbed yourself and killed your 2 children?
Thanks a good sub, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what's your name?
Brandy Worley.
Brandy what?
Worley.
Okay. How do you spell your last name?
Worley.
And where are the children at?
And my daughter's...
No. All of this is real. I'm saying the Reddit post being this couple is what I'm questioning. I'm not done yet, so maybe I'll be convinced here in 4 minutes.
My husband wanted to divorce and wanted to take my kid. I won't let him have my kid.
Okay, and how old are your children?
7 and 3.
10 and 3?
7.
7 and 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where did you stab yourself at?
In the neck.
Okay. Are you bleeding?
Yeah, there's blood everywhere.
Who's the bitch lavender?
In my living room.
You're in your living room?
Mm-hmm.
According to court documents, the 2 children, Tyler and Charlie Worley, were stabbed, resulting in deep lacerations on both of their necks. Brandy had stabbed herself in the same place as well, but this surprisingly didn't end up killing her. Shortly after this, Brandy was treated at the hospital for her stab wound, and about a week later was admitted to jail, where she sat for 476 days, up until her final sentencing. In 2018, she was convicted of 2 counts of murder, totaling at 120 years in prison. According to Fox 59, Brandy was expected to claim the insanity defense, but ended up settling for a guilty plea. She appeared to be just as unremorseful as she did in the 911 call. She spoke in a very matter-of-fact manner when describing her crime. It was heart-wrenching to hear her speak as she did. All I want, and have ever wanted, was to have her out of sight and mind so I could move forward from this horror. To this day, Brandy Worley sits in the Rockville Correctional Facility in Park County, Indiana, serving out her time in prison for the remainder of her life. As for Jason, he's made a return to Reddit under the nickname Jason in Code, giving everyone a much requested update on how he's coping. Here, he claims that it's been incredibly far from easy, and at times he's considered taking his own life due to the anguish caused by the passing of his beloved children. Regarding the sentencing, he believes that Brandy shouldn't have gotten the death sentence because that's what she would have wanted, and after 9 years of giving her exactly that, he wanted to avoid it in any way he could. Overall, though, Jason mostly claims that he's doing better, and becomes more so with each passing day. If I can impart you on something that I have learned through all of this, it's that you should always take the time to be with the ones you love. It doesn't matter if they're asking you to read The Pokey Little Puppy for the millionth time, or asking you to play Smash Bros, even though you know that they'll wipe the floor with you every time. Just do it, because you never know what time will be the last time. Always make sure they know how much you love them. I had the fortune that the last thing my children ever heard me say was, "I love you. Good night. I'll see you in the morning."
Yeah, maybe it is real. Or that Jason in Hell, whoever made it,
thanks so much
capitalized off
see you in the next one.
Story.
I love you all.
For internet points. Kind of like those people who make Twitter accounts during a tragedy to try and get points and GoFundMes. But I find that unlikely. Damn, what a wild ride. Still, this really strikes me as super odd. Assuming this is all real, why would he make this post as a follow-up? This does not seem like someone who, literally days after the murder of his kids, would be so cavalier to post this. Seems very odd to me. But, who knows, I guess. Thanks to resub Selden and the Prime Aiden and Turtle. The resub Giblet. Cavalier being the wrong word. Yeah, could be fake, probably real though. Reddit karma is like the least, like on the food chain of social points, it's literally the lowest. Nobody is Reddit famous. I guarantee maybe 5 people can tell me who has the most karma on all of Reddit because no one gives a fuck. So I don't think someone would farm karma like that. You can be Twitter famous, Facebook famous and all that shit, but Reddit, I've never heard of someone Reddit famous or anything like that. You command 0 power and 0 presence by having a ton of karma on Reddit. Seen that one actually, Wicked. And thanks to the resub Super. So it's probably real then. Fucking wild story. Deep fucking Value isn't famous for Reddit, he's famous for that entire GME movement, which started on Reddit, I suppose, so you could argue it, but it's not like he was just a Reddit commenter. Like, he wasn't a Reddit karma farmer. He was a Redditor who did something fucking crazy, which caught on and blew up. I guess, Bind, I'm just assuming it's real. It seems very, very wild if that was all an elaborate fake from that Reddit account. Things the gift sub. We had an early head start, but it looks like Cult 1. We'll do Cult, and it's shorter anyway, so this will be a good taste of the channel anyway.
It goes goes without saying,
Thanks to the
cults
Prime
are
Smooth.
infamous for a very good reason. They are known to indoctrinate people, manipulate them,
Mhm.
and use them as a collective for the goals of an individual cult leader or a harmful belief system. In many cases, they target individuals that are very
Thanks to the 5 gift subs,
vulnerable because
Gaming
they're
Legacy.
generally more
We sub
likely
Nuke and
for
Ghostly.
leadership. Desperate people tend to look for desperate answers and tend to not use their better judgment. Take, for instance, the story of the miracle mineral supplement that claimed to cure just about anything.
Hey,
from
I remember
Alzheimer's
that.
to autism. And as it would turn out, not only did it not cure any disease, did not help any disease, but also contained bleach. Cults
Yeah.
thrive when followers of an individual collective prescribe themselves to blind misinformation.
Oh, here, hold on.
With all
Sorry.
of that being said, today
you
we're
go.
going to dive back into retracing the digital footsteps of one such cult. This is the story of the now defunct Reddit cult of Cantelmoism.
I've been on Reddit since day one, going from Dig to Reddit, and I've never heard of
My encounter with this bizarre
Cantelmoism.
topic first
What
started
the
when I was looking
fuck?
for more internet mysteries to do videos on, and I was on another popular subreddit called the Reddit Bureau of Investigation, and I found a post that read the following:
Exit
super
Prime,
unusual
Soul.
subreddit where every
Give
post
sub
is
Roberto.
gilded an absurd amount of times. Here is ISS Gold, the subreddit in question. I'm pretty positive they're all bots, but why circle jerk thousands of dollars into gilding onto these posts for no reason at all? There has to be
So
some
they're a
reason
Reddit
why.
gold
At the time I had
cult?
first checked out this
That's
subreddit,
cute.
it was still up, but as of now has been made private. In a nutshell, there were
Exit
countless
Tier
posts
1
in this
Elite.
tiny subreddit that contained a vast amount of Reddit gold and silver. At first, it appeared like some sort of test subreddit, something very similar to the YouTube channel WebDriver Torso. While I couldn't
Exit
find
Tier
any
sub
proof this was a test
Crabio and
subreddit,
Yeet
what I did
Yang.
find out from a
Soulless.
comment was what led me to this topic. A user had commented that this could have a possible connection to r/Cantelmoism, which dropped me right into one of the most interesting
I
stories
like the name.
I've ever come across on Reddit. Trying to access
Sounds like some old Middle Earth shit.
r/Cantelmoism, you'll notice that the entire community has been banned. What's interesting here is that Reddit actually took notice of this community and banned it altogether. Keep in
These are
mind
5
there's
gift
an
subs. Collage?
r/Scientology subreddit
Or
that is
collagen,
wide
excuse
open.
me.
So what was
Thank
so
you,
bad
collagen.
about this one that Reddit had to take action? I will note the reason for this subreddit being banned is listed as for being unmoderated, but I highly doubt that, as you'll soon learn more details. If you trace this entire situation back, this all starts with a Reddit user by the name of Chris CGC, whose real name is Chris Cantelmo, who became notorious
Hey!
on Reddit for giving away upwards of $70,000
Goddamn,
in
thank you,
Reddit
Tier 1
badges,
Craig and the
which was
5 gift subs
calculated
again,
by his own
Phantom.
mods
Thank you,
on his
Phantom.
own subreddit. If you look into this guy's background, you'll learn that he owns a medical company called GL Sciences, as well as a few other companies in the past.
Very
to which he
successful
made quite a
Redditor.
bit of money. Just to make sure,
He
if
must
you're
use
unfamiliar with
r/finance.
Reddit badges, they're used as gifts from one Reddit user to another and are displayed on posts. They are usually given out as a good job award for being particularly funny or helpful. Reddit Silver is the cheapest Reddit badge you can put on a post. The next tier
Embarrassing.
is Reddit Gold,
It's
which gives
garbage.
you 1 week of Reddit Premium.
Yeah.
Lastly, there is Reddit Platinum, which provides 1 month of Reddit Premium. If you're unfamiliar with Reddit Premium,
you sub
essentially it is
Aftershock,
just a
you sub
membership
Doggo,
that
you
unlocks a
sub
variety of features with
Anarchitect.
Reddit, including the option to turn off ads.
Prime
Moving
loan.
back to Chris CGC, he became well known, as I said, for randomly gilding posts on the r/teenagers and r/dank memes subreddit. Keep in mind, this guy clearly targeted a younger demographic by going for those subreddits. For example, in this individual post, it would cost about $350, which features 69 platinum badges, and
Oh, he's an epic
69 months of
memer.
Reddit
Big
Premium for the
man.
user who posted this. This was
Imagine
common
fucking
behavior
CEO
for
being a
Chris, as he
memer.
would basically be handing out money every
Okay,
single
that's
day.
Elon Musk,
In
actually,
fact,
never
this was
mind.
even so common that they created an entire subreddit called Children of Chris, dedicated to people who were gifted gold by him. At first glance,
Thanks
this
for 5
seems
gift subs, All
entirely
American. Good to see you,
harmless.
man.
This guy was being generous with a lot of
Appreciate
money
it.
and was reported to be spending thousands of dollars a day on gilded Reddit posts. As you can imagine, many people didn't have a problem
Thanks
with
to
getting
your
free
sub-rich.
Reddit Premium memberships, and it got to a point where people would just pass this guy's name around and say, "Message Chris, he'll send you gold." As I said, at first it
I'm
seemed
surprised I've
rather
never heard of
benign.
this.
It seemed like this guy simply had a bunch of money to go around and was willing to pull stunts for the sake of entertainment. But as time would go on, he would reveal the actual motive behind these gilding sprees. As a result of this guy gilding almost any post that was in his way, many people were curious about the man behind the gildings. A lot of people looked up to him because he was very generous. However, in an interview done by Insider Meme Trading after he gained some attention,
Insider
he was questioned about his
Meme
motive regarding
Trading.
the mass gilding sprees, to which he responds saying he wanted to get the message
Actually,
out
cool name,
that
not gonna lie.
DMT cured cancer. In case you're unfamiliar, DMT is an incredibly powerful
Holy shit.
hallucinogen. DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, has been studied in the field of cancer. However, there is no consistent peer-reviewed evidence that would suggest this in any way. And let's be real here.
What is it?
If a cure for cancer was found, do you think a guy would have to do a publicity stunt?
Do they also use that for joint pain?
To get the word out in the months to come.
Give me 1 second. Hold on. Sorry to pause, but I need to look that up. DMT. They also use that for joint pain, don't they? Let me see. No, this isn't what I was thinking of. I remember a couple years back, I knew a guy that was pedaling hard for some, like, really pseudoscience-y liquid jar of shit. Like, it looked like what the xenomorphs were born out of. And it was dimethyl something. I remember that, which is why it started to, like, fucking Winter Soldier me there for a minute. And he was like, this'll work, this'll cure your joint pain, inflammation, might make you taller, it's gonna make your beard more full. DXM? Maybe. Thanks for the hey, Socks. Good to see you, man. Thanks for the 5 gift subs, Socks and Lich. Jesus. Give you the generosity tonight. Goddamn.
Still found some notoriety and started
Sounds
to
like
get a following
HGH.
as a result of his generosity.
No.
Something I want to note here, many of these followers were not in it for the sake of his teachings. However, they were a byproduct of being around him. Nonetheless, a portion of people stuck around and did listen to what this guy had to say. And there are former believers of Cantelmoism. And as time went on, and through the help of Cantelmoism Exposed, a subreddit we will get to, many people started to outline the potential symptoms of a forming cult. As I said earlier, looking back on this situation is
I highly doubt it's like a real cult.
All the original threads surrounding
probably just an updudes to the left. Thanks for the gold, stranger.
Deleted. Not to mention, Chris CGC himself was also banned from Reddit. In fact, Chris has been banned more than once. People collectively created a comprehensive list of alternate accounts that Chris was creating, and most of them are banned. What remains is a subreddit called Cantelmoism Exposed, in which we get a full understanding of the situation. The sidebar of this individual subreddit reads the following. Cantelmoism is a cult of personalities centered around Chris Cantelmo, who came to prominence on Reddit through his mass gilding sprees. The cult espouses a form of psychedelic New Age pseudoscience, ranging from innocuous beliefs to dangerous self-harm.
Oh, okay.
Members of r/teenagers for recruitment. We are here to aggregate information about Cantelmoism and help people make informed decisions to avoid further recruitment. Among the pinned threads in the subreddit, we find one called Outline of Initial Concerns with Cantelmoism. Here we learn quite a bit about this whole fiasco. The thread reads the following. I'm interested in whether or not any true cults have ever emerged on Reddit. I've been following Chris CGC and his sub Cantelmoism. I started out participating for the awards. I had 5 years of premium after a few days of participation, but once I had more than enough gold, I continued to participate out of interest for what is the strangest, most cult-like sub I've ever seen. Today, it is starting to get more renewed interest by the Reddit community. As a leader, Chris CGC has been suspended by Reddit for 3 days, and it was mentioned in a popular and just deleted Ask Reddit thread described as a really weird cult-like subreddit run by a guy who gilds literally all the posters. He talks about how he has terminal brain cancer and that he's cured it with DMT, and believes DMT can cure literally everything, and the users seem to agree for some reason. My personal take is that he's a schizophrenic, but I have no proof.
Or just a scam artist, what do you mean?
Here's a few ways in which it seems like a cult. Mind-altering practices such as meditation, chanting, speaking in tongues, enunciation sessions, and debilitating work routines are used in excess. Perhaps the main tenet of the whole cult is that DMT is a perfect and godly substance with no bad effects that everybody should be using, and that it cures cancer and AIDS.
Wow!
In fact, he has gone as far as saying that radiation and chemotherapy are torture and make patients worse, not better, which is extremely dangerous advice to people who have cancer. He has also urged his followers
did Chris talk to Steve Jobs or something?
Every day,
is he responsible for that?
Tricked into fearing the sun to make us dumber. The leadership induces feelings of shame and or guilt in order to influence and or control members. Often this is done through peer pressure and subtle forms of persuasion. This is a textbook and egregious example, especially when it turned out that the user YanZZ didn't actually do anything wrong and the cult members refused to accept it. The group is elitist, claiming a special, exalted status for itself. Its leaders and members, for example, the leader is considered the Messiah, a special being, an avatar.
No fucking way. All because he was gifting Reddit gold?
Save humanity.
That's like
Here's
just
how he
spitting in your
described
face
himself
and
to
then
Dowd
wiping it
while
off.
he was
Reddit gold is
proselytizing his sub.
useless.
The leader, Chris,
Truly useless.
constantly referred to as God. He believes that he has special
Hold
knowledge.
on, I need to look at... What does Reddit gold do? Doesn't it just grant you access to the Reddit gold lounge? Like, who cares? So you hang out with some pretentious douchebags? Like, does it do anything else? Let's see. What is Reddit gold? Rewarded to post. What can you do with it? Here we go. So you get a week of Reddit Premium and 100 coins you can use to give someone silver. Is there ads on Reddit? I can't say I've perused the internet without an ad block in years. Is that like a big draw? Like you don't get ads? For a week? Oh, okay. It seems like an awfully large thing to say that the guy who gives you Reddit gold is the Messiah. Jesus. Thanks to the Prime Poison. Thanks to the Resubble
knowledge
Kami.
of the spirit world and wants to use the knowledge for the express goal of world peace. The group is also preoccupied with bringing in new members. Monetary rewards are gifted with participating in the sub. The group is preoccupied with money. He spends thousands of dollars a day gilding members with Reddit money, and he also is increasingly paying members real money and offering to pay for their plane rides to
That's a
visit
great
him.
deal. Wait, he's just
In
giving
total,
away money?
He spent over $100,000 recruiting followers with a main focus on
Yeah, just fucking pretend to call him the
and here
Messiah.
are
Who
a few
cares?
examples
Free
of
cash
some
from
of
a
the
weirdo.
outrageous things he has said, but I think that thankfully most of these are not taken completely seriously by his followers. His most devoted followers definitely still believe him, though.
AC
It
Tier 1
seems like
just did
Reddit is
stuff
starting to
with
catch
Prime.
on and get worried, as
No
his
7
account was
and
just
Resub Otis.
suspended for 3 days for telling people to call me or visit me to experience DMT as anti-cancer treatment. He encourages schizophrenia and believes that it's caused by excess DMT and that hallucinations are completely real. As the poster of this thread starts to update it, he goes into one of the podcast episodes that have now been deleted. Edit 3. I just listened to Chris' most recent podcast episode, and I can finally understand what people see in him as a leader and why his followers seem to love him. I'm almost convinced that he's an amazing
He fell
but
in love.
insane human being. Either that makes him less threatening because he's not the type of person to start a dangerous cult, or more threatening because he is the type of person that could convince enough people to
Yeah, I
pull
know
it
I'm
off.
Leto.
The first half is just a normal conversation, which establishes trust in him before he transitioned to the crazier second half. We learn how Chris befriends the homeless and lets them come into his house whenever they want to.
That's
pay.
kinda nice,
He
though.
wishes he had enough space to let thousands of them sleep in his backyard.
What?
He does have over an acre.
Maybe this
of
guy
land,
is the
but
Messiah.
enough to start a commune/cult on a smaller scale. Then, in the second half, he starts talking about DMT,
He's a
albeit
tier
in a
1
far less insane
That
way
monkey
than
in the
he
Prime
normally
King
does.
Joe.
He then makes some apocalyptic prophecies that he previously talked about on Reddit. He talks about things such as a recession worse than the Great Depression being imminent, and World War III between US, Iran, and Israel being imminent as well. However, he does say that those two things will actually be good for everyone except the rich. Next, he tells us what his ideal society looks like. He wants something beyond communism, where money is made illegal. It's not too big of a stretch to say that he might consider implementing such a society on a smaller scale.
Money
if
is
he gains
illegal.
enough devoted followers. Lastly, he talks about
Wow.
suicide. At first, he said he thinks the people who commit suicide go to a better place.
Oh, wow.
And are better off.
Holy shit.
This is obviously a very scary idea when you look at how common
Thanks for the
mass
gift sub again,
suicide
Socks.
is in cults. He seems to be aware of this as he quickly changes his tune to say that he really thinks that people who commit suicide have to start their life all over again, which would be boring. Overall,
Holy
there are
shit.
some Jonestown vibes, but mostly he just seems like an extremely moral, charitable, and crazy person. His followers fall in love with him for his morality
Didn't
and
pop up
charity,
for me, Kaiser.
missing
Well, thank
out
you
on the
then if you
crazy
did, man.
side, and that's where I think the danger lies. Alright, now, as I said previously, many of the links are dead. However,
Interesting.
going over to his website, we can in fact see many of the claims and the beliefs held by this guy, and
Here's
they still
some
stand
Monster
under the
Shark and
discovery
Gonna Barf
section
in the
of
Prime
website.
Chronic.
While it might be insane to think that many people even remotely entertain this guy, he made examples out of a few of his devoted followers. who even
Jonestown
paid
is one
for
of the
their
most
college,
wild
in some
stories,
cases
yeah.
up to $15,000.
Whoa.
As a result, many people sucked up to him in hopes of financial gain. But at the time, Reddit turned a blind eye as they were getting paid through the nose by this guy. I personally believe, as well as many other people, that most of his so-called followers were just in it for the sake of money.
crazy in the
And when there stopped being handouts on a daily basis, almost all of his followers started to turn on him for not providing evidence of his claims. At first, some people were willing to be patient since Chris had never provided any proof towards his claims regarding DMT. He came from a scientific background and would constantly post about his upcoming research being published. However, that obviously...
Wait, is this Chris? This guy doesn't look like a dank memer at all. Looks like Tom Hanks in character. I thought it was going to be a young guy. Cult leader my ass, Grandpa.
At another point
Ew.
in time, one of Cantalmoism's main
Give me back
followers
that
got a
Reddit
restraining order
gold.
from Chris, which led to him getting doxxed. This led to death threats for leaving the group, and ultimately this situation was starting to spiral. Later on, death threats would flood into basically anyone critiquing the group. However, many people noticed that in many cases, it was just Chris on an alternate account. In an effort to keep some of his followers on the hook without any financial incentives, Chris became desperate and would make alt accounts pretending to be news outlets, stating that they were working on a story about his research. However, obviously people saw right through this. Up to this point, even the most devoted followers started to not be able to turn a blind eye towards his childish behavior. In many situations, he resorted to name-calling like a 5-year-old, and in other cases, he even told a person with cancer that he was an idiot. As a result, his own subreddit turned against him. It read the following: "This is a place for a very mentally ill man named Chris Cantalmo to post his craziness. Please get this man help and don't support him. He has no money left, no family left, and nothing good in his life."
Damn, Chris, fucking blasted
that
on your
leads us
own
closer
dank
to
meme.
today, where around a month ago, this Reddit community as a whole has been banned. I can only imagine because Reddit wasn't getting paid off nearly as much. While Chris still remains online on his other platforms, he's still trying to recruit members in person, but his digital footprint still remains.
I want to check out
Even
that
his
channel.
own Discord turned against him, and one of his top followers has now taken over. From an outsider like myself, looking at this entire situation, in my opinion,
Thanks,
I
Resub Mo.
definitely see how this seems quite premeditated. I can see the angle a lot of people have mentioned regarding this guy
MacGyver.
being mentally ill as well. However, it seems like from the very beginning, this was calculated towards creating a cult. This guy comes from an educated background. He graduated from Yale. He set up a website. He targeted impressionable people, and he used one little sliver of attention and was vindictive towards anyone who didn't agree with his beliefs. Thankfully, however, the situation
Hey, thanks for the
has been
10 new
avoided
subs
to a
again,
large
Cyaxis. Good
degree.
to see you tonight.
Something
Hope
else
you're
I
doing
should
well.
note is that I
Thank you
also
for the
believe to a
generosity.
certain extent Chris has been experiencing a degree of psychosis.
Uh-oh.
I don't believe this guy to be mentally stable due to the constant drug use. Here we had a guy with a great livelihood and a good life, and he was well off. Then, seemingly out of nowhere in the later years of his life, after being an atheist for 56 years, he becomes ultra-spiritual as a result of taking DMT. And
He
other
just wanted to
drugs in
start a
excess.
cult, man. He just did it the
refers to
wrong
himself
way.
as a god, and all of his teachings
should have
point
started
to
playing
obvious
Minecraft.
delusions and psychosis. That being said, I don't think talking shit directly to this guy helps whatsoever. As a result, anyone watching this video, don't go harass this guy. His brain obviously processes information differently, and even though what he attempted to do was terrible, it won't stop him from continuing
appreciate it,
doing what he's
Cyaxis.
doing.
Thank you for the
This guy
generosity again.
needs professional help. Instead, this video stands as something much more effective
Thanks
for
for
the
the sub, Kaiser.
situation than directly talking shit to him. At this point, if anyone comes across this rabbit hole or topic on the internet, they have a reference point to which they can understand how this group came to being and avoid it. With that being said, I thank you for joining me here today as we looked at
Well, that was
one of the
actually kind of
weirdest stories I've
interesting.
ever seen on Reddit. This is Barely Sociable. Have a great night.
Is that true? Only one guy said this, but now I have to know. Did Chris Cantalmo actually kill himself because this video? I'm gonna look it up. I feel like I'm being lied to, but that would be horrible. Let's see. Oh my god. Wait, that's real. That's fucking awful. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that guy wasn't lying. Wow. Well, that was a ride. Holy shit.
we are going to do a psychic brain massage.
Well, fucking do it then, pussy. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. I'm expecting any minute now for him to like chug a fifth of vodka and just say shoe nice or something.
Can you feel?
Oh, 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 oh. Ooh. Shit, he's powerful. God damn. Ooh, wait. Hey, whoa, be nice to the psyche.
We can connect.
Yes, please. Let's connect. That's what I want. Oh.
From your mind.
Oh, whoa.
In out.
Wow.
Your brain.
Oh, yes. Pet it, please. Wonderful. That felt great.
Had the misfortune to handle this incorrectly, you would most certainly have a painful and horrible death.
What?
Sadly, this subject has been covered before by someone I know.
Uranium.
But I found this story really interesting and I had to do a video about it.
Plutonium?
This
Fuck!
video.
Son of a
Like
bitch.
many of my atomic videos, our story starts during the Second
Things a
World
bit
War
spicy.
and the Manhattan Project. The Demon Core, or Rufus, as it was originally nicknamed, was intended to be used in a third atomic bomb to be dropped on Japan. It was designed to be 5% below critical mass.
So this doesn't seem
leaving
like
the
super
core
interesting though.
somewhat
Like
safe. However,
we know now how
5%
dangerous
was
plutonium
to
is.
ensure that when needed, it could be used to make a very large explosion easily.
Seems like a really comprehensive lesson into the dangers of plutonium, but yeah, I was expecting like some wild shit. But I mean, it's a good sport. I certainly have no problem with shin kicking. When do they? There it is. The danger to the sack is really high in this sport, but I'm pretty sure they wear a cup.
So the Harvard Globeheads debunked their model yesterday.
You're not testing on a ball, guys. The Earth is flat.
Oh shit! Wait, is this serious or no?
We're gonna put one magnet here in California. Seriously, I'm about to lose it. I'm getting pissed.
This is absolutely satire, isn't it?
Toilet paper and hit space.
God damn it.
I thought he was gonna die, dude. I literally thought he was gonna die.
Wow.
I thought you...
Holy shit.
They're a complete shock.
I thought it was an actual flat earther thing.
You can't write that stuff, guys. I'm just having my freaking world rocked.
Shut the fuck up! It's everything.
This looks very high effort though, wow.
Right. And I've always been right. You guys get it? You guys fucking get it?
Damn, the amount of effort that seems to have gone into that is wild. It says parody? What, where? Oh, god damn it! Well, I mean, I think it was pretty clear. But, yeah, I should have just seen this right away and not got excited.
So the Harvard Globeheads.
Phase Rug Gatorade in Windex bottle prank? Tell me if it's fake or not? Alright, I don't have to watch it. I can tell you it's fake. Phase Rug is in the fucking title. What do you mean? I'll watch it for a couple seconds just to confirm, make sure I'm on the right track here. I don't want to be wrong. But I can tell you it's definitely fake.
What's going on, guys? FaZe Rug. I know her reaction is gonna be funny. It's gonna be so fun to do, and oh god, I'm actually scared to do this. And I'm gonna ask her if she needed help cleaning.
Forgot something? Did you really fucking drink him now and that? Come on, you should look.
It looks. My mom got so scared. You were on.
It's fake. That's probably enough FaZe Rug's content for the whole year, in fact. We just reached the limit. Watch the Glico-Morinaga Incident, Japan's greatest unsolved mystery.
Explore the Glico-Morinaga case and its perpetrator, the monster with 21.
That's a cool title, I'm in.
Izaki legacy, but nothing could have prepared him for the night of March 18th, 1984, or the subsequent nightmare that would last nearly a year and a half after that. At approximately, the two men first happened upon Mrs. Izaki and one of the couple's 3 children.
This is not what I was expecting at all here.
They were both bound. Meanwhile, Katsuhisa, hearing the commotion, tried to remain unnoticed in the nearby bathroom with his 2 other children, but his efforts were ultimately in vain. But wait. A ransom request request was made the very next morning, with the unidentified assailants asking for the equivalent of $4.3 million, along with 220 pounds of gold.
Damn!
A staggering amount for anyone, but one that
What
would
the
ultimately
fuck?
never have to be paid. Just 3 days later, Katsuhisa managed to escape completely unharmed, revealing to both police and the public that he'd been held in a warehouse in nearby Ibaraki City, not far from his own company's headquarters.
What the
Puzzlingly
fuck?
enough, the CEO also claimed that he managed to finally escape because he, for some reason, had been left unmonitored. Almost a month after the taking of Katsuhisa Izaki, more bizarre events began to unfold for Glico. On April 10th, a number of vehicles outside the company HQ were inexplicably set on fire in a suspected arson case.
What the fuck is going on with
Just under
Glico?
a week later,
Jesus.
a container
They're
full of
haunted.
hydrochloric acid was located in one of Glico's buildings. Both Glico and local Osaka media received letters claiming that cyanide-laced packs of the company's candy would be placed on store shelves. The letters signed by a person or group choosing
Damn,
to
this
be
is like the
called
actual
the
Zodiac
Monster
killer.
with
Like,
21
he must have fled the
faces.
States and then went
The
here
name
to
many
torment the
assumed
chocolate
was
guy.
taken from the works of mystery writer
Glico and the
Ramon
Chocolate
Ogawa,
Factory.
specifically a character known as the Monster or Fiend with 20 faces. It goes without saying that what happened next here was mass panic, and of course for good reason.
It's
Now, despite all the
Arasaka.
damage, however,
Yeah,
no poison
what it
candies
is.
were actually found. Meanwhile, investigators were scrambling to crack the case, but the so-called Monster with 21 Faces was slippery, and they knew it. As this was all going on, the letters did not stop. Many that were sent to the media were addressed directly to Japanese police, who the monster described as stupid and incompetent.
Oh, hey,
The
that's too.
monster
Hey,
was
hey,
so
hey, let's not be
confident,
rude.
or
What the
perhaps
fuck?
frustrated with police,
They're doing
that
their best.
the vehicle was gray and that they'd entered Glico's factory via the front gate in order to plant the container filled with acid, which they
That's gotta be
claimed
embarrassing.
was originally street garbage. The letters themselves.
Imagine being so
became a
incompetent at your
defining
job that the
characteristic
criminals
of
you're
this
trying to catch are
case.
just openly
But
giving you
even
hints
with
to
how
make it more
frequent
fun
they
for them.
were, they
Because you
didn't
can't figure
offer
it out on
any
your own.
solid clues as to the monster's identity, aside from the fact that they seemed local based on the dialect that was used. There did, however, appear to be one possible break in the case after Glico's products had been recalled.
Oh!
This man was spotted on CCTV, seemingly placing something onto a store shelf.
We got him!
It is a bit difficult to make out, but the man here is wearing a business suit and glasses, along with a Tokyo Yomiuri Giants baseball cap.
Oh, I actually
To this
thought that was a
day,
New York
this remains
Yankees
the
cap for a
only
second, I'm
piece
not
of
gonna
actual
lie.
footage associated with this case. But whoever is depicted in it, the so-called videotaped man, has never been identified or even formally connected to the person or group who calls themselves the Monster with 21 Faces. On June 26, at the height of all the chaos and confusion, something even more bizarre took place.
Oh god.
Another letter had turned up, but this time
This time it was a
seemingly
love letter.
claimed that the monster was done with Glico. The note, addressed to the people of Japan, said the president of Glico has already gone around with his head hanging down long enough. We would like to forgive him. Japan has gotten terribly hot and humid, so when our work is done,
Yeah,
we
maybe I'll
want to
check
go
that
to
one out next,
Europe,
Raiden.
Geneva, Paris, London. We'll be in one of those places. Let's bring Pocky, the traveler's friend. Delicious Glico products. We're eating them too. See you in January of next year. And it even came without any money being exchanged. This, of course, would seem
Yeah, they haven't
ultimately
made a single
bizarre and
fucking
a
dime
waste
from
of
this
time
shit.
If not for the fact that the monster really hadn't stopped at all. In fact, it had already started targeting other brands, including one Marudai food company, with much the same tactics it had already used with Glico. Once again, ransom was demanded in exchange for peace, and unlike Glico, Marudai was ready to comply.
Oh, no.
But with a catch. On June 28th, just 2 days after the
Why
monster
comply? They
announced
clearly
an
just
end
gave
to
up
its
last
obsession
time.
with Glico, said man was described as having a larger build, short hair, glasses, and most notably, eyes said to resemble those of a fox. The
What?
undercover cop was
So you
instructed
sent a
to
cop
keep an
that was
eye out
high.
for a white flag, the signal to drop the money. But since that flag never appeared, the cop continued on the route until its eventual end in Kyoto. He was only there long enough to hop on the next available train back to Osaka, and sure enough, the fox-eyed man boarded the exact same train. This time, the monster wasn't bluffing. Several packs of Morinaga products were found with additional labels on them reading "Danger contains poison," signed "The Monster with 21 Faces." In response, a staggering 40,000 Japanese police officers were set to watch over
get rid of the surprise by
supermarkets and
saying
convenience
that.
stores. In August of 1985, things were still at a standstill, and the Japanese public were furious with law enforcement's perceived
Appreciate it, Giggle.
incompetence.
Thank you. And
The
yeah,
pressure
GTRP is
was
always
too
fun.
much for one man in particular who had worked on the case. Superintendent Shoji Yamamoto, who, tragically out of shame, set himself on fire and would ultimately pass away.
What?
The monster, meanwhile, had been watching...
What? This is like literally an anime plot. The fucking detective was so ashamed he couldn't catch the guy that he lit himself on fucking fire? This is probably what he looked like when he was burning alive too, just so fucking stoic about it. Like, yeah, I'm burning alive, what of it? What of it? Huh, pussy? My god! What? Bro, like over here, the fucking lead detective on a case probably thinks about it 10 minutes out of his day. And then meanwhile, this guy was so consumed by it and so disappointed he couldn't crack it, he lit himself on fucking fire.
We decided to give our condolences. We decided to forget about torturing food-making companies. If anyone blackmails any of the food-making companies, it's not us, but someone copying us. We are bad guys. That means we've got more to do other than bullying companies.
Kind of
The
a lame
monster
note, not gonna lie,
ultimately
kind of
made
lame.
good on their work. But even so, people were still left with no answers, no real reason
Wait,
for why
what?
all this...
So, this is fucking crazy. So the guy lit himself on fire, and that was such a profound statement that the criminals just stopped. So this guy, like, he must have seen the strings that attached everything. He must have cracked the fucking code. By lighting himself on fire, he solved the case, but he lit himself on fire because he couldn't solve it. So the act of the self-immolation ultimately solved the case. This is crazy. And there, man, what a story. And the criminals also had so much honor that they respected him so much that they just quit.
It almost comes off like the monster with 21 faces didn't actually want to hurt anyone or even make money for that matter. Why place labels on tainted goods? Why not actually collect on the money? Why leave the CEO unmonitored, which allowed for his escape? That we don't know of. In the end, we're never going to know what the monster really wanted. Was it to make a point to society, or to play out his very own detective fantasy in real life? The answers remain unclear, but what's troubling to think about is that the monster with 21 faces could still be alive today, and much like the Fiend, the monster remains unseen. Thank you.
That was great. But what an I can't help but feel like it's all wasted. So, like, the team behind the monster with 21 condoms, like, they did something crazy. Like, they did something nuts. And no one will ever know who it was. So that group, or that maybe one person, they can never fucking brag about it. They can never be like, I'm a genius. Like, this guy probably sits at the dinner table with his family or his friends. He's like, yeah, I'm fucking smart as shit. And then he can never prove it. Because he can't just be like, yeah, I'm the monster with 21 faces or whatever. Such a waste. You did something nuts and no one will ever know. Except you. You yourself are the only one that will know. Shame. Time lapse of the future. A journey to the end of time. What does the future look like? I feel like I know what the future would look like. A lot like it looks now. Probably not many people outside. Fuck the outside when you can experience it in VR. Thanks to the Tier 1 disability and the Tier 1 toxic pod.
The Holocene has ended. What we do now, and in the next few years,
Thanks for Prime Bam.
profoundly
Firing.
affect the next few 1,000 years. The only conditions modern humans have ever known so far are changing, and changing fast.
Nothing's the same on this planet. Everything changes. The Earth is going into one of these jumps, and you don't know what is going to be on the other side of those jumps.
This is pretty intense.
The Earth is always jumping. Things move on this planet.
No!
Everything is turning.
What the fuck? Stop, slow down! Do we have the technology to stop a star from going supernova? No! Son of a bitch! What if we just drain the Earth of all lava? So that way when the supervolcano tries to erupt, it's just like a fart. You know, it's just like dust and gas and shit. No lava. Damn, we're going in deep. Lord. That's speculative, though. They don't know that an asteroid's gonna hit in 200 million years.
As it begins to run out of fuel, the sun won't simply fade away to nothing. Its core will collapse, and the extra heat this generates will cause its outer layers to expand.
So we have about 9 billion good years left.
It remains slowly cooling in the freezing temperatures of deep space.
Hey, that's fine. 9 billion decent years. No, hey, nothing wrong with that. It's a good run.
The fate of the sun is the same
Things
as
in Tier
for all
1
stars.
La Bestia in the
One day,
resub ozone, or
they
one
must
zone.
all eventually die, and the cosmos will be plunged into eternal night.
All stars eventually will run out of fuel. The temperature of the universe drops. The stars, one by one, in the night sky, will turn off. And there'll be no more new stars created.
No,
Instead,
man.
The universe will end not with a bang, but with a whimper.
Imagine the last star.
But in ice.
How lonely. Having to whittle away with none of your star friends. And it takes like billions of years. Thanks, the resub, Tom. $2,000 trillion years is the degenerate era. We've gone backwards in time. We're currently in the degenerate era.
With no fuel left to burn, a white dwarf's faint glow comes from the last residual heat from its extinguished furnace. Looking at it from where the Earth is now, it would only generate the same amount of light as the full moon on a clear night.
No, man.
The faint glow of white dwarfs will provide the only illumination in a dark and empty void littered with dead stars and black holes.
That is until Big Bang 2, the sequel, baby. Let's run it. Give that star some friends.
In some ways, it's kind of a ghost universe. It's
The gamers rise again.
that will take us into the future.
Thanks to some cosmic corpse. Next to some Freaky Riki and Ryan. Whoa, fuck! Jesus Christ! Thanks to resub Payton. What are these giant rings?
A black dwarf will be the final fate of those last stars. White dwarfs that have become so cold.
Master Chief, yeah, I guess it's just Halo rings.
Or light.
Thanks to resub Punk and Unplugged.
Dwarves are dark,
Spunkiest.
dense, decaying balls of degenerate matter. Little more than the ashes of stars. Their constituent atoms.
Yeah, and then at 100 trillion years, Elden Ring gets released.
Are 1,000,000 times denser than our sun. Stars take so long to reach this point. We believe there are currently no black dwarfs in the universe.
Exactly, scary. Thanks to resub Grid. Oh, Jesus. The girl, Danny. Sorry. There's no capitalization when I see it over here, so it'll look like one word. God, it's the IFR on, get me out! Oh, fuck. Oh, that'd be wild, Blender, yeah.
We have a pace of life that's based on really the energy
I've
available.
already seen it, Polka Dot.
You could imagine living conscious systems which have a very different pace and therefore can extend out at least a lot farther than you'd imagine otherwise. You could have a living system where if it had a thought every 10 trillion years, that would seem normal. Even if our life dies out, one could imagine at some time arbitrarily far in the future, a fluctuation occurs which allows intelligent life to exist again for a little while.
Yeah, but fuck them if we're not in it.
So you might have islands in time of intelligence.
Thanks to the resub Keytune. The Prime Health 1-up. Oh, true fire crotch, yeah. I skipped that part. Thanks to 2 gift subs, Calypso. Thank you again, Calypso. Hey, well, Adam's had a good run. 2 trillion years? That's not bad.
Just spontaneously fall apart.
Any material that
Can't be mad about that.
Black hole
eventually dies away as its protons disintegrate.
Gamer energy lives on in the universe.
The matter inside black dwarfs,
Yeah.
the last matter in the universe, will eventually evaporate away and be carried off into the void as radiation, leaving
There's the Prime Optimus
absolutely
and Zell.
nothing behind. With the black dwarfs gone, there won't be a single atom of matter left. All that will remain of our once rich cosmos will be particles of light.
Woohoo!
Black holes.
Those particles probably have to feel so fucking lonely. Hey, thanks for the 5 gift subs again, Ash. Fuck yeah. Thanks for tier 1 hamster kibbles. Thank you, Ash. Really appreciate it. I have not, Yuane, but someone recommended that earlier. Thanks a bit, Shibe and Ethan. Yeah, makes sense, Wood. Thanks to the resub, Jewel Pod.
The arrow of time creates a bright window in the universe's adolescence, during which life...
Hey Tempest, thank you for the 10 gift subs. Good to see you. I hope you've been well. Thank you for the generosity.
But it's a window that doesn't stay open for long.
Holy shit, we've only just begun.
Of the lifespan of the universe, as measured from its beginning to the evaporation of the last black hole.
Oh, thank you for the 10 gift subs,
Life,
Deadliest.
as we know it.
Damn, back
is
to
only
back, thank
possible
you.
For 1,000th of a billion billionth billionth of a...
That's like the current price of Safe Moon. Not bad.
Black holes become the fundamental building block of the universe.
Thanks to the Prime MFX.
A galaxy will basically be a supermassive black hole in a center with smaller...
Thanks to the 5 gift subs, TZ Big. Thank you for the generosity. And the gift sub, Oats. Thank you.
Zombie galaxies filled with black holes continue to evolve.
Zombie galaxies, huh?
They'll lead each other and they'll get bigger and maybe they'll fall into the supermassive black hole.
Are they just making this shit up?
The universe will
I
still
don't know.
be an exciting, dynamic place. It's just that the time
Jonah, thank you, man. Goddamn. Thank you for 10 gift subs, Jonah.
Thousands or millions of
Prime Shepard, Masmary and resub Kai and Gogo Mike, and the Prime Dwight. Thank you. Yeah, I think black holes are super cool. We need to find a way to harness that power. Maybe if we just ask it nicely to give us its secrets.
Black holes can bang on space-time like mallets on a drum.
He's a tier 1 captain and the
And
gift
have a
sub
very
Slimy, the
characteristic
Prime
song.
Not Me and Lakitu. Makes the bits genuine and waffles. Sorry, work wasn't
Imagine
fun.
two black holes that have lived a long life together. At the end of their lives, they're going around each other, crossing thousands of kilometers in a fraction of a second.
Yeah, that's so cute.
As they do so, they leave behind in their wake a ringing of space, an actual wave on space-time.
I wonder if black holes can fall in love.
Space squeezes and stretches as it emanates out from these black holes banging on the universe. Those are the gravitational waves. They're literally the sounds of space ringing. And they will travel out from these black holes at the speed of light as they ring down and coalesce to one spinning, quiet black hole.
Woohoo!
If you were standing near enough, your ear would resonate with the squeezing and stretching of space. You would literally hear the sound.
I bet it's a wonderful sound. Thanks for the gift sub, Destination and No Skill.
Imagine a lighter black hole
Really?
falling into a very
Polka
heavy
dot.
black
Interesting.
hole. The sound you're hearing
Thanks for some cold.
is a light black hole banging on space each time it gets close. As it falls in, it gets faster and it gets louder.
Jesus, it's hurting my eyes. Thanks for the resub,
Scientists
Caparet.
used to think black holes were immortal.
The fuck was that?
Will one day die.
Now we're talking about timescales of unimaginable length, quadrillions of years into the future. On that timescale, even the black holes begin to evaporate.
How can there be sound in space, though? I thought you couldn't really get sound in space, even if, like, things collide in space. I didn't even think it made it as sound.
Mechanics,
But maybe
space
I'm
is
just
filled
dumb.
with virtual particles, antiparticles, that are constantly materializing in pairs, separating, coming together again, and annihilating each other.
Oh, so it's more of just, like, the waves you're talking about? Gotcha. Gravitational vibration, gotcha.
In the presence of a black hole, one member of a pair of virtual particles may fall into the hole, leaving the other member without a partner with which to annihilate. The forsaken particle appears to be radiation emitted by the black hole. And so, black holes are not eternal. They evaporate away at an increasing rate until they vanish in a gigantic explosion.
It's crazy how everything explodes. Why can't it just leave peacefully?
Mechanics has allowed particles and radiation to
Thanks for trying,
the
Balthazar.
ultimate
Give some oats and resubsystem.
black hole.
Yeah, I guess, Deadliest, I don't know. True Witch Doctor, and thanks for the resub, Sleep Trouble. Thanks to Tier 1 Trash Man, and the resub Amp, and Ghostly Damage. Or Ghostly Mega Schmeat. Whoa! What if just all of this is wrong? Literally every single part. I mean, I don't think there's any way it would be wrong.
Philosophers and poets have
But just imagine the universe expands because there's just one guy like blowing it like a bubble. One big guy, one giant guy somewhere. Ah, fuck it.
latest evidence shows that the universe is not slowing down, but it's speeding up out of control. And the universe, we think, will die in ice. Trillions upon trillions of years from now.
DB Cooper, yeah. DB Cooper's the one making the universe expand.
In every little cubic centimeter of space, whether or not there's stuff
whether or not there's particles, matter, radiation, or whatever, there is still
That sounds
energy,
interesting, Eddie.
even into space itself.
Yeah, of course, Rope. Go for it.
And this energy, according to Einstein, exerts a push on the universe.
What is the weird stuff that's accelerating the universe? We call it dark energy. And this stuff is the dominant stuff of the universe. Almost 3/4 of the matter energy content of the universe is this dark energy. And we don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
not wrong, Xenomorph. I do imagine as our understanding develops, a lot of these may be inaccurate at some level.
Does not dilute away as the
But
universe
math is kind of hard to, like, prove wrong.
implications for what the universe is going to do in the future.
Thanks, the resub long. I'm gonna give some trash,
So
man.
what will be the future of the universe?
That'd be huge, Rip.
Well, if the dark energy remains dominant and repulsive,
Thanks, Brian, Sophie, Laurel.
the universe will expand forever. Faster and faster and faster with time. A runaway universe.
70% of the energy of the universe resides in empty space, and we don't understand why. But we do know what will happen if that energy continues to be there.
Jammer.
The universe will become cold and dark and empty. That's the future as it might be. We don't know because we don't yet understand the nature of dark energy. Until we do, we won't know the future. We won't even understand our own origins. And that's why we want to know and study this subject.
Yeah, dark matter and all that shit has been something I've always been really curious about ever since I was a kid. It just sounds cool. It's the human will. Yeah. That's the unknown energy. That'd be so cool if there was multiple universes, man. I love that shit. Thanks to the tier 1 silver spoon. I agree with that, Colby. Neil Breen knows. Thanks to Resub Koi. Hope work hasn't been too bad, man. That sounds cute, Tingu, but probably not tonight. Thanks to you, some big bird. Resub Cox.
Does seem to be for an ever colder, ever empty universe. But then, of course, we have to ask, could that end lead to a new beginning? And there are ideas whereby what actually is the end of our universe could in some sense be linked to...
Do you think the universe has been, or that this is the first iteration of the universe? I think we're beta testing. And unfortunately the universe probably isn't too happy with our progress. Not to put the words in universe mouth, but I just can't imagine it's overly impressed.
We've worked out the mathematics, the equations. They seem to say that if you have an atom smasher that can concentrate tremendous amounts of energy at a single point, you can perhaps open up a gateway, a baby universe.
Sounds cool.
Facing the death of everything there is, this perhaps is the only possibility of escape. And this also raises a very intriguing possibility, sheer speculation of course, that perhaps any universe that has intelligent life in it will create baby universes, will create lifeboats, and proliferate child universes.
What? What do you mean?
So an evolution may take among universes in the multiverse. Survival of the fittest may take place. So those universes...
Yeah, I'm gonna open my own universe.
Are infertile.
Fuck it.
Have no children. And those universes that have mild temperatures, stars like us, would create civilizations that develop a travel.
Thanks for resub, Swag. Good to see you, man. Fuck yeah. My man. Hope you've been well. It's been too long. And that's when we retreat to my universe, where I've let only people that I like into it. It's very exclusive. Thanks to the gift sub Fiend and the gift sub Torchlight. Subs only. Yes, subs only universe. That'd be crazy, Selvin, yeah. Thanks for your sub, Rob.
After an unimaginable length of time, even the black holes will have evaporated, and the universe will be but a sea of photons gradually tending towards the same temperature as the expansion of the universe cools them towards absolute zero.
Thanks for some honey pie. How much of this stuff do you think people will be around for? All of it. I think we make technology that dictates what the universe does. It becomes our bitch.
But everything reaches the same temperature. The story of the universe finally comes to an end. For the first time in its life, the universe will be permanent and unchanging. Entropy finally stops increasing.
Yeah, I'll think about
because
it.
The cosmos cannot get
Here's
any
Brian.
more
Hello.
Nothing happens, and
but
it
maybe
keeps
Rip.
not happening forever.
These videos are always so good. I love this shit. They're so grand in scale and so well produced. It's how can you not like something like that?
I'm Kento Bento. This video is made possible by Dashlane. Download Dashlane for free if you never want to lose another password again at the link in the description. Tokyo, December 10th, 1968. It was pouring rain.
Not really ripping it off, Mickey, I don't think. Just inspired by.
Was on edge. Someone had threatened his life and those around him over the past few months. Just 4 days prior, a letter, one of recent many, was sent to his personal residence demanding 300 million yen or his house would be blown up with dynamite.
Holy
shit. The letter was made up of characters cut out
some Looney Tunes shit
from movie magazines. Police were notified, and indeed they kept a close eye on the bank and his home, though this did not ease the mind of the bank manager, who shared his concerns with his branch employees. Now, of course, this is Japan, and work is work. The show must go on. With this in mind, the bank manager went on with his duties, sending 4 of his employees to the nearby Toshiba factory to make a scheduled drop. So off they went, taking the company car. But not long after leaving the bank, the 4 heard police sirens approaching. At that very moment, they happened to be next to a prison of all places. A police officer screeched to a halt in front of the car and frantically got off his motorcycle to warn them. The branch manager's home had just been blown up. People were injured.
Wait, really?
Presumably worse. Despite police monitoring the locations, the perpetrator was still able to carry out.
Wait, so he actually successfully blew this shit up?
Additional threats were made. The bank in particular was now a target, and branch employees were at risk, especially those who had left the bank earlier to carry out bank duties.
Why do you keep spamming Jim Browning? I'm literally in the middle of watching something. What the fuck is wrong with you?
The officer got down underneath to check the car, but before he could do a proper search, an employee started noticing smoke and flames emerging from the vehicle. Fearing the car was about to explode, the officer desperately tried to roll out of the way. Everyone ran as fast as they could to safety, retreating behind the prison walls. They waited and waited for the explosion, but there was no explosion. They looked back.
Oh, so they were fooled.
The company car was gone. The police officer was gone. Had he moved the car to safety? Confused, they called the Nihon Trust to find out what was going on. To their relief, the bank manager answered. He was alive and well. In fact, everything was fine there. The bank manager's home was never blown up. As the adrenaline wore off, it finally dawned on them what had happened. This was the moment the perpetrator had been setting up the past few months. Disguised as a police officer, he had now gotten away with what was to be the bonus payments of 523 Toshiba employees. The stolen amount totaled to 300 million yen or $6 million.
Not
Exactly
bad!
what he had asked for. On the ground, they found various items left behind, including a warning flare that the officer must have ignited while under the car to mimic dynamite. A reported 120 pieces of evidence was left behind at the crime scene, which is a lot and would normally be beneficial, but this was purposely done to mislead.
Whoa! What the fuck? This is nuts!
The case remains unsolved. Some say
Turns out he trimmed his pubic hair to live DNA, but it wasn't his pubic hair.
No loss of life, no blood
A red herring.
The plan meticulously carried out by a single person, and in the end, the money taken. But there are many ways a bank heist can be great. There are many ways it can be notable. Take the case on May 15th, 2016. At around 5 a.m. in the early hours, cash was
Phoenix Jones, I
physically
forgot to do
withdrawn
that.
from an ATM
I like Phoenix
from
Jones.
a Tokyo 7-Eleven. The amount was 100,000 yen, about $880, which was the cash limit. Now, this doesn't seem too bad, but try repeating this 14,000 times across Japan in the span of just 2 hours, because that is exactly what happened. In total, 1.4 billion yen, about $13 million, was taken from ATMs alone. And this wasn't done electronically.
What?
It was done in person. Sure, it had to be some sort of a large, coordinated group, but the staggering number of transactions in a 2-hour frame made even this seem questionable. Compared to other notable cases, the largest known recorded number of participants to have been involved in a single heist wouldn't have been able to pull this off either, unless they had superpowers. Involving an even larger team would presumably be unwise, as there'd be too many chefs in the kitchen. Now, after police completed their painstaking process of checking security footage of each 7-Eleven store, and yeah, it was only 7-Eleven's hit, they found their answer. In this particular case, the more chefs the better. It wasn't a team of 50 or 100 or even 200. It was 600 people. 600 people pulling off a sophisticated, highly coordinated heist using fake credit cards. Quite the contrast from the single perpetrator of our first heist.
Toto
Not
and Rusem
surprisingly,
Kaze.
most people have surmised with this many active participants, there must have been links to a large crime organization. But as of today, despite the numbers, no one of note has been caught. Now, here's a quick one. Kobe, August 7th, 1990.
How in the fuck can you not catch a single person in that if you knew exactly what places they were hitting with security cameras? How does that happen?
The story so unique is
How do you fuck that
10
up?
days after the heist, the bank, still reeling from the events, received a note from the robbers. The note read, "Thank you very much for the bonus. We can now live on this loot for the rest of our lives." It was a sincere message of gratitude. Yeah, we all know the reputation Japanese people have for being polite, but this took it to another level. So the last 3 cases involved plans being executed perfectly
He's the prime
with
writer.
no loss of life. But not the case with the next one. We're going way back. January 26,
Thanks, Teresa
1948.
Brendan.
Again in Tokyo, a man in his 40s walked into a branch of the Imperial Bank just before closing time. 16 people were inside, including customers and bank workers. He got everyone's attention and explained he was a government health inspector sent by the US occupation authorities. Remember, this was post-war Tokyo, still under US occupation. The man stated there was a sudden
These are some
outbreak
Frosty
of
Nips.
dysentery in the area, and he was to carry
Oregon
out
Trail.
inoculations. In post-war Tokyo, the disease was a legitimate threat, so no one really doubted him. Add to the fact that the man was wearing an official government armband. He gave all 16 people a pill and a few drops of liquid, which they quickly drank. Now, it wasn't long until they fell, one by one, in agony.
Oh,
With
fuck.
everyone incapacitated, the so-called health inspector grabbed all the money he could find and calmly left. 12 of the 16 people would later be confirmed dead, including a young child. The solution they drank was a cyanide solution.
Holy
this was a
shit.
ruthless way to go about a heist. But what made this even more strange was that the man left behind a business card. He left it at the scene. The card was marked with the name Shigeru Matsui, apparently from the Department of Disease Prevention, which does make sense since he was pretending to be a health official. But Shigeru Matsui turned out to be a real person who actually worked for the Department of Disease Prevention. Not surprisingly,
He killed him and
upon
took the
investigation,
shit?
Matsui was cleared. He was not the robber. He had several alibis. But he told police he had exchanged business cards with 593 individuals.
How would he know that
Japanese
number?
people have the habit of exchanging business cards with personal details, so this was helpful. as
Oh, I
police
guess you could
now
just
had
look at every business card.
593 suspects. Over time, they were able to whittle down this number to just 8 cards, 8 suspects, one of which was a man named Sadamichi Hirasawa, a Japanese painter. When Hirasawa was questioned and asked to produce the card of Shigeru Matsui's, which he should have had, he could not. He claimed it must have been in his wallet, which was stolen the other day. He was a victim of pickpocketing. Police had a feeling they knew exactly where the card was.
He could have
When
just
asked
lost the
police
card.
alibi,
I don't keep business
he could not.
cards.
When police looked into his history, they found 4 previous cases of bank fraud. When they searched his possession, they found a similar amount of money to that stolen from the bank. Hirasawa suspiciously refused to divulge how he got this money. Finally, when his face was shown to eyewitnesses, they immediately identified him as the poisoner. Upon further interrogation,
Oh, that was easy.
Hirasawa
Good work.
confessed. He was arrested for the robbery and the murders, and in 1950, he was given the death penalty. He was sent to death row to await execution by hanging. Case closed. Or is it? Because after the trial, some had doubts whether Sadamichi Hirasawa was indeed the perpetrator. Everything mentioned, circumstantial. In fact, it was revealed his confession was viciously beaten out of him.
Thanks to Tier 1
allegedly
Supreme
tortured.
in the Prime
There was only
Yodi
2 of
resub.
the eyewitnesses who
Demon.
identified him as the criminal. Perhaps he was telling the truth. Perhaps he was really a victim of pickpocketing, as he claimed. The unexplained origin of the money in his possession was also thought by some to be from his side business of drawing pornographic pictures. Revealing this truth to police and to the public would have been detrimental to his reputation as an artist. There was also no way
So he was a
Hirasawa could
hentai artist?
realistically obtain the ingredients for what turned out to be a military-grade cyanide solution used in the robbery. Interestingly, some have claimed that the true culprit was actually a former member of the notorious Unit 731, a covert biological and chemical warfare research and development unit of the Imperial Japanese Army that undertook lethal human experimentation during wartime. If so, this would explain the accessibility to the poison. The Minister of Justice himself doubted Hirasawa's guilt, and so never signed the death warrant. This opinion was shared by successive ministers of justice, so the death sentence was never actually carried out. And so Hirasawa sat in prison on death row for the next 32 years of his life, one of the longest tenures ever on death row. And on May 10th, 1987, he caught pneumonia and died in a prison hospital. Despite the verdict, the case was never truly put to rest, and many people felt that the true culprit, all those years ago, would have been within grasp if only the focus was on the right person. This brutality
It
happened
does
in
seem
1948.
very
7
odd that a
years on,
painter
there
would come
emerge
up with
a
that.
new type of heist. January 25th, 2000.
That seems extremely hardcore.
Cybercrime. The Tokyo-based exchange CoinCheck, one of the most prominent virtual currency exchanges in Asia,
Thanks
was
to Prime,
the full
just
victim
Kier
to the
and
biggest
resub sauce.
cryptocurrency heist in history.
What do you mean, water?
At 2:57 a.m., using overseas servers, hackers, disguising themselves as authorized users, were able to enter the system. They remained undetected for the next 8.5 hours, stealing 58 billion yen worth of the cryptocurrency NEM, which is about $530 million. Then they were gone. This incident became an embarrassment to the Japanese government, who had been trying to make Tokyo the global center for cryptocurrency. CoinCheck revealed they failed to implement the required extra layer of security, but even worse, the stolen currency had been kept online in a hot wallet, rather than in a much more secure offline storage facility known as a cold wallet. This is similar to if a convenience store kept significantly large amounts in a cash register instead of an off-premise bank vault. Now, one of the stranger aspects of the heist is that the stolen virtual funds were able to be traced online, because transactions for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are all public. and so the $530 million worth was eventually traced back to 11 specific addresses. But the identities of those sending and receiving the money, unfortunately, remained anonymous. Indeed, no one yet has been caught, but the developers of NEM were able to label the 11 addresses with specific warning tags for all to see. They also set up a tracking tool to automatically reject exchanges involving the stolen funds. Of course, the most frustrating part of this is that it all easily could have been avoided if CoinCheck just added that extra layer of security. And really, it's not just big companies. Most people today are
I imagine they'd already cashed it out like that same day.
Same password for every account they have.
couldn't have.
Now, if this is you, congratulations. You have bad habits just like me. But that's okay, I'm segueing here, because Dashlane makes keeping track of all your passwords.
I see why you saved that one for last.